the
Hey,
waiting room.
are you in the waiting room?
Yes.
Zoom has been a little bit problematic, just so you know.
Yes, I can understand fully.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm good. I haven't seen you since your place.
I know, I know. Oh my gosh, when was that? Everything's a blur. I'm like, what day is it? Where am
Um,
I? Who am I? What's my name?
was it April? No. It was February. No, it was
It
March.
was February?
March. It was March. It was March.
Oh,
It was definitely
I'm
March.
going with whatever
So you
you
are you in
call it
your
because I have
your
no
five
clue.
story spot, the 3 story? I don't know how many stories
No,
the place was.
no, I'm not.
No,
No,
you've moved since then.
no. I haven't moved. I've been quarantined with my guy.
Really? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
That's a good way to be quarantined, I guess, right?
I agree. Amazing company. Absolutely amazing company. And I think that this quarantine has been the best thing to ever happen,
Hmm.
period. Like business, relationships, connectedness, building, growing, like all of that stuff, I think is pretty
Hmm.
awesome.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's, you know what? Since I have you on there and you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that,
Mm-hmm.
why is that? Why do you think that? Because, so let me just back up a step, right? Um, we're both business, we both run businesses and
Mm-hmm.
we both deal with people and communicate with people all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
right now, a lot of people are like really nervous. They're scared. They don't know what to do. Some people are just like scrambling. Some people are just trying to throw things on the wall. Like
Right.
if you've never been an entrepreneur and for like 25 years, you can't just become one overnight. You're not going to get success right away, right? No
Absolutely
matter
not.
what somebody tells you, right? It's
Right.
not going to happen right away. So, but you said some people say this is the worst thing that happened, but you said it's the best thing that happened. Why is
Ever.
that?
I think one of the things too that I constantly am always doing, and sometimes it frustrates people because they're like, how are you so happy? Or how are you so, it's not authentic. And I'm like, no, it's authentically me. Y'all don't hear my inner self talk. And
Mm,
so for me, what it is I literally tunnel and funnel everything that I'm seeing through my life mantras. Like I choose to look at this as a blessing rather than a burden. I choose to look at this as, to be quite honest, now that stores aren't open, now that people are stuck in their houses, this has really kind of leveled off the playing field. So for first time entrepreneurs, this is a huge opportunity for them to put themselves in a position where they're using the same Facebook ads that their favorite inspiration is using. They're using the same Instagram promotions. They're using the same click funnels. So it's literally a much more equal playing field. Maybe not in the sense of you having your community, but definitely in the sense of you can create your traffic or at least start to collect that data. So for me, it's been amazing because this is the most connected I've been to the people that I love. My relationship is just taken off. My business is on fire, and it's because I choose to make it that way. I also feel like what you think about is what comes about. So if we're constantly thinking like, oh, I can't do this, or this is really hard, or this is really, then of course you're going to attract more of that. Like, I think my
right,
biggest complaint is my nails. I'm doing my own nails right now, but other
right.
than that, like,
Mhm,
God is so good. Life is so great. And I am so grateful for this time. I think we all needed this.
right. So let me ask you this thing. Okay.
Mhm.
So basically, you're saying, so some people will say, okay, she says, have faith in yourself, right? Or have
Yes.
faith in a higher power.
Yes.
True. So what about the person who they have bills today, tomorrow, and of course, you're not being required to pay some of those bills. If you have
Hmm.
a
Hmm.
mortgage or a lease or rent or whatever, you're not necessarily required. At least as far as I know here in Florida, I don't know if it's all over the world.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay, so you're not required, but people know that that's not going to be something that is going to be here forever, right? And then
Right.
they've lost their jobs.
Right.
Many people have lost, supposedly the unemployment rate is the highest it's ever been.
24 million.
20 foot. Wow, is that much now? That's
Yes.
a lot. I wonder
24
if some people are
million.
following that shouldn't even be following. I don't know.
Right.
But right, that's a freaking huge number, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then you have that, but then you also have people they don't have the skills, right? So
So, uh-huh.
some of those people that say, go forward, just believe in yourself, and it's like, for me, I like sports, right? I like to use sports analogy.
I
So
love it.
I love basketball, right? I love
Uh-huh.
basketball. I know how to play. Like I do know how to play. So if someone said go out there and do what you can with some NBA players, I know that they're going to be way better than me,
Yeah.
but I'll be productive, you know,
Right.
because I understand the basics of it.
Right.
But the people who, like, if I send someone else out there and say, and you don't have any basketball skills, right? You're not going to be productive, no matter what the freak you think, no matter what you believe. You will not be productive, not that day, right?
Right.
So what do you say for people like that?
As far as, I think that right now is a time to do the groundwork.
Okay.
And understanding the fact that at the end of the day, this race, this marathon, rest in peace, Nipsey, this marathon is between you and you, you know? And I think that things only start to happen and we only start to feel the lack of when we're comparing ourselves to what other people are doing. And I personally feel like comparison can be a superpower. So when I go on Instagram and I see women with incredible bodies, I'm like, ooh, yes, come on, Sarah, you got this. You know, or if I see people that have the house the type of house I would like to be in, I'm like, oh, it just means it's possible for me. But a lot of people look at that and they're like, damn, I haven't come far enough. I'm not doing enough. I'm not successful. And so comparison can either be super crippling or it can be a superpower. And we get to decide, you know, because at the end of the day, if you're looking at you and you're first starting your entrepreneurial journey, and I'm going to be honest, when I first started, I was broke the first year and a half, you know. I'm, and disclaimer for anyone that catches this later, I was that girl that was struggling to pay my rent every single month. Like, I was literally that girl that would go on the couch and scrounge up change. And I always tell people, like, you don't really know true humiliation until you put $3 on pump 5. So for people that are just starting their entrepreneurial journey, like, my gas gauge used to point downward. My car used to squeak on every block. And now I'm driving and have cars that are in rap videos. You know what I mean? Like they talk about. And so it's not about the things, but it's who you have to actually become. And if you're looking at yourself for who you become, if you're looking at yourself for, you know what, today I started to make the list of 100 people that I want to reach out to and tell them I have a new product, right? Tomorrow, I'm going to follow up with those 100 people that, you know, whatever. The next day, I'm going to reach out to 15 podcasts that I want to get started on, as well as reach out to 15 companies that are in alignment that I could cross collaborate with, as well as so you're doing the work every single day. If you are looking at you who had no business day one, and now in a week you've met or at least reached out to 1,000 people, 100 of them have returned your calls, you have an opportunity to be on 2 new podcasts and got a new client or customer, that is exciting, right? And we all have the time right now in this quarantine. One of the things for me, like, I'm learning to speak Spanish right now. I'm learning to trade right now. I'm in the stock market right now, developing my skills for things that will always develop and there'll always be a place for, right? Now at the same time, I could be melting into my couch watching Netflix every single day. And I'm not going to say I haven't watched some Netflix, because I've definitely watched some Netflix. I always joke, my guy loves like blood and guts and I love movies. So I'm like, we watched this one movie called Mr. Right. That wasn't it. It was like supposed to be a combination between like blood and guts and act. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Who was the star in that, Mr.
Right? The cute, I don't know their names. The cute little, I shouldn't say the cute little girl, but she's small. She's short. And she's in Pitch Perfect.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there we go. But anyway, I did have to say, I've definitely watched some Netflix, but I have definitely invested in myself. Like, that's the thing that entrepreneurs, especially when they're first starting, is they feel like they have to be, you know, a champion in their first fight. And it's like, that's impossible. Well, it's not impossible. It's just very rare. It does happen, but it probably won't happen to most.
Okay. So, some people will say, all right, you know what? I understand that, Sarah. I totally understand that. But some people don't have. So let's say, for instance, if you're not used to getting those small wins, like, you've been an entrepreneur, you know, you've traveled all over the world, you're speaking, you said your business is on fire. So not everyone has that experience, which helps to, you know, build confidence up. So being that is the case for many people, a lot of it sometimes is really just believing in yourself and having enough confidence and, you know, having the mindset to do that. So what are some, do you have any like mindset hacks or techniques or practices
Yes.
people could use to get into that zone that you just mentioned?
Yeah, I actually teach this. So I have an online course that heavily focuses on mindset because I am so passionate about belief and I am so passionate about confidence, because if you don't have those, like if you don't believe in you, why would anyone else believe in you?
Mm-hmm.
So the short answer, and I'll go into it, is a lot of the times we hear people say, believe in yourself. And then it's like, I want to, but how? Right? So
Mm-hmm.
the short answer is, belief for me breaks down to 5 really simple steps. Number 1 is repetition. Number 2 is awareness. Number 3 is evaluation. Number 4 is action. And number 5 is progress. What does that all mean, right? If you want to develop your belief, you've got to start speaking it. You've got to start seeing it. There has to be a repetition of how often you're saying it, you're thinking of it, because a belief is just a thought you keep thinking. So what starts to happen is, as you repeat something again and again and again and again and again, what you've done is you place it on your radar, right? If you've only ever seen a map of the United States your entire life, as young or old as we are, right? If you've only ever seen a map of the United States and someone's like, but we need to go to Japan, you'd be like, what are you even talking about? That's not a real place. Like, you're out of your mind. That doesn't exist, right? And a lot of the times, that's how people look at our businesses. They've only ever seen this scope of work 40 years, retire, make work 40 hours a week. They only ever, this is their scope. And we're saying, we want to go to this over here where we're making 7, 8, 9, 10 figures a year. It's like, what are you talking about? That's not real. So sometimes, and I say that to say, sometimes the people that love you the most, they support you the least. And it's not because they don't love you. It's not because they don't think you're great. It's not because they don't believe in you. It's because they're trying to keep you safe in who you are instead of seeing you for who you could be. Because what they know is this scope exists, but I don't know about out there. And if you go out there, you could get hurt. So sometimes it comes off in the craziest ways. Our friends, our family members, they'll say some crazy stuff to us. But really and truly, for the most part, it's coming from a space of protection, right? So as you start to repeat, put the pictures up, put it on your phone, speak it out loud, do your affirmations. As you start to speak it, what that does is it creates awareness now. Oh my God, there is a Japan. There's a bigger map. I just didn't know that the map was. So now that it's on your radar, you can create an evaluation between where you are and how to get there. How do I get to Japan? I know it's going to take some flights. I know I got to get to an airport. Hey, maybe I got to walk or hitchhike all the way to New York. I got to find a way to get on one of them big boats that go overseas. There's different ways to do it. The easiest way is a jet. Okay. Take me to Japan. But please believe there are folks that figure it out walking. Are you willing to evaluate the end goal and where you're starting, reverse engineer what's necessary to make it happen so that you can, number 4, get into action. So now that you know what the action is to take, the more action you take that's in alignment with your goal, it's going to create progress. And progress is what is going to create more belief, which then goes back into, oh, I know that there's Japan, right? So now it's an elevated level of belief. And as you continue to make progress for yourself, as you continue to believe more in yourself, it gets to a place, I kid you not, Kaz, like, I bet all chips on me. It's like this or death. Like, literally, look, it is what it is. If I don't get there, it's because I went home first. You know what I mean? And really, truly, failure is a part of it. I've failed so many times. Oh my gosh. I've been engaged twice. I was in pageants, lost. I moved from Saskatchewan, Canada to Los Angeles to pursue acting. I don't act anymore. Like, I have failed and tried so many things, but it's because I'm trying and will continue to try to get closer to who I am, not who other people tell me I am. And a lot of people live by the label that other people put on them instead of deciding their label for themselves.
Ooh, I like that. So, and that's why those tactics that you mentioned, put it up on the mirror, do this, do that, say it out loud, those things to sort of like help reinforce and offset the other little things that those self-doubting, I don't know, let's call it, I don't know, little mindsets or whatever that pop up in your head.
Yeah.
So do you actually like have things around it, like on the mirror that says, hey, I'm great? Or do you have you record yourself, or you just walk around every day and say, hey, I am great? What do you do?
I think now, I love that. I think now I'm in a place where I don't have to say the affirmations as much, like, but
Okay.
what I do daily in the morning is, I call it morning vision. I actually started this with a couple of my girlfriends like 4 years ago. And so in the morning I have one song and I literally will play it, like, well, I have a playlist. It's like a Baroque classical playlist. And
Mm-hmm.
while I'm listening to the music, I write down like what I see. And I'll do this for 7 minutes. And then afterwards, I'll speak out my vision out loud, listening to this. I'll be like in straight tears, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bawling, like crying, because it's so real for me. So
Right.
for me, as far as manifesting goes, I feel like the part where people really miss it is in feeling. And sometimes we declare things that are so far from who we think that we are, that we feel like a fraud, and that actually repels what it is that you're trying to attract. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
So for me, one of the things that I heard from one of my good girlfriends, Allison Bird, and now one of the things that I teach to a lot of my clients, because it's just so powerful, is instead of saying the things that may not feel real for you, like for the newer entrepreneur, $100,000 in your side business, $1 million in your side business, just may not feel real if you're making $30 a week. You know what I mean? It may just be like, there's literally no way on God's green earth I'm ever gonna, and the bad feeling is what pushes it away. But if you can focus on, what I like to say is, for my newest people, is I am becoming the kind of person who, right? So if you want to make $100,000 in your business, that's $8,333 a month, which breaks down to about $278 a day. Right. So if you, now I know the goal, I know what I need to do a day. How many people do you need to expose to your product or service daily in order for you to get enough sales to cover $278 a day? So now, instead of saying I am a six-figure earner, which may not feel real if you're making $30,000 a year, you
Mm-hmm.
say, I am becoming the kind of person who can be consistent with exposing my product and service to blank amount of people daily. I am becoming the kind of person who can be consistent in following up and creating an amazing customer experience for the customers that I do have, so they can refer me more. I am becoming the kind of person who believes in herself, who is powerful and is confident in what it is that I have to offer, because I am consistent. I am becoming the kind of person who will not give up on my dream, because I'm going to take it day by day instead of being overwhelmed by all the things that life throws at me. I am becoming the kind of person who, and what that does is, it
Mm.
makes you get in alignment with the person you have to become in order to attract that thing that it is that you're after. So for me, I talk billionaire talk. And this is the thing too. A lot of the times people are like, I don't know how I'm gonna make $100,000. The hell isn't up to you. And I honestly, like, I joke with my friends, like, how arrogant must we be to think that we can do everything on our own? you know
Right, right. That's
Sometimes
true.
you've got to get out of your own way and trust that when you are committed to it and you feel good about it, I promise you, like, if you, the most random, you hear, I have so many stories of how it's been like, doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but
Mhm.
it happened because I'm not connected to, that's up to God. That's God's thing. My thing is to be committed to it, be in action and alignment with it, and feel really great that it's already happened.
Mm, I like that. And I like that. I like that a lot. So let me ask you this then.
Mm-hmm.
Is that so even with this pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of opportunity. We've seen the numbers go like this for e-commerce. It's just going
Right,
up higher and higher because everything is closed. Well, most of
right,
it is closed. So I mean, people are still buying. They're not taking the money and just burning it. They're still circulating the dollar, right?
right.
So I think that's a good thing for us. Sometimes I think we have expectations, right? That also maybe like we compare ourselves to another person. Maybe
Yeah,
we have these like you said, if someone's making $30 a week, like you're probably not going to make 100K like on the side right away, right?
right.
So sometimes I think our expectations also are so far out there or are so displaced, maybe, or like I said, maybe we're comparing ourselves to what we see someone maybe on social media have.
Right,
Um, is there a way, and then that determines our wants and our needs? We get them confused sometimes, right?
right. Yeah,
What would, I mean, for a woman, like you said, you're doing your own nails. Like some women they may be going crazy, but after a while you get used to it and you just do
right,
your own nails, right?
right.
Whether it be hair, clothes, shoes, whatever. Do you think that, someone can also put themselves in like a mental rut as well by having expectations that probably like are, there's no, I don't want to say it's out of reach, but maybe there's no strategy or plan to get there.
Yeah, I personally, and this is why I teach this in my course, I strongly believe anyone and everyone can be successful. Anyone and everyone can be successful. And the reason why each person is not is because of themselves. It is
Mm,
because of the mental rut that they put themselves, the excuses that they give themselves, the BS that they buy from other people, and they allow the story to become their life, not knowing that they're the director, they're the lead actor, they're the production company. They and especially like it's a lot of the times it's your law of association. And sometimes when you're associated to people that are negative, to people that are like, well, that's for them over there, or you shouldn't do that. When I first started in entrepreneurship, my mom was like, baby, get a job. And I was like, no. And can I just say, my mom is my superhero. Like,
mm,
I tell stories about her to this day, and I can't get through the whole story without crying for how incredible my mom has been my whole life. My dad is amazing. I'm grateful I have an amazing family. So when my mom, the person that I look at, like, she can do no wrong. I would like Oprah or my mom. You know what I mean? Like I put them right up there together. And it was hard for me to say, no, mom, I'm doing this. I'm going to fight for me. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it because a lot of people think that success looks like doctor, lawyer, engineer, or in entertainment. And there's so much more than that. And so when I started, I'm still calling my mom saying, hey, can you please help me pay my rent? But I refuse to get a job. Hey,
mhm.
can you please help me put gas in my car? Can you please help me put groceries in my
She still
fridge? But
help you?
no, now I like bless my, I'm like, here's your mortgage. You know, like I'm about to do something really awesome for my parents
Oh, nice.
that I've been waiting to do for like a few months now. So I'm really excited about that. But I say
Okay.
that to say, when I first started, the people that love you the most, they support you the least. And you've got to know inside of you, you've got to be willing to bet all chips on you and know that it's this or like it's hell or high water. Like how Will Smith says, if you get on the treadmill, I will die before you beat me on the treadmill. Like you may be smarter than me, you may be faster than me, you may be what, but my willpower, I will die before this doesn't happen. And for me, I'm like, I don't even like saying that because it's going to happen. But, I guess that it's your law of association and the people that you're allowing to speak into your life really and truly. And it sucks because sometimes, wives and husbands, how many times have we heard about them nagging each other? Like, you don't need to do that. No, this is for us, So I would say enroll your loved ones into what it is that you have going on. And I would really and truly say that you've got to be willing to bet on you. And if people want to be mad and they want to catch attitudes and they want to cause you all hell breaking loose, okay, great. You'll be back.
Got you. Got you. Okay. I like that. And, one thing, so for someone who, like I said, like so many people are having, you have to make a change today. Like, it's like, and I don't want to say you said this is a really great thing that's happened, this quarantine. I think it woke a lot of us up as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe we've gotten too comfortable, whether it be
Right.
online or offline.
Right.
And being able to pivot is so freaking key right now that it is
Yes.
not funny, right? Being able to pivot. So, and I think you sort of mentioned that, like in the beginning, Sarah, you said that, hey, Kaz, like this is a time to like really kind of like go in and, if you don't have the skills, this is the time to get the skills, right?
Right.
I mean, people still need everything that we needed before, probably even more so now than ever, because
Right.
you're locked up in this place. And some people, like I heard, I don't know how true it is, people are like, there's more domestic violence,
Yeah.
there's all these things going on because people are like not used to like being with each other.
Right.
So if you're a person who can develop skills, but you haven't had them before, you absolutely need to pivot. So what do you have any suggestions for someone who needs to pivot, especially someone who's maybe not disciplined and not used to being disciplined enough? Because people, we go to school, right? And then after school, whether it be high school, college, some of us, not everyone's kind of stopped learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have, school at least, I'm not saying school is good or bad, but at least you have to be there at a certain time, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You go to
They're
class at a
structured.
certain time. Yeah, there's structure there.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone has that structure. That's what a job does for some people as well. It gives people structure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not everyone can be an entrepreneur, but you know, some people can be an intrapreneur, but
Right.
everyone I think needs structure, whether you're an entrepreneur or not. So for someone who needs to now pivot, but who's just not used to having that structure unless it's like forced upon them, which this quarantine is kind of a force. Um, what would you have any suggestions for anything like that and helping a person pivot?
Um, that's really hard because you have to be disciplined if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs go a little bit south, unless you're already successful. Like it's different if you're already successful, but if you're just starting, um, I would be like, I like for me, if, cause I do high ticket one-on-one coaching,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't work with someone that said, I'm not really disciplined. And I charge, like I charge, right? And
Yeah.
so you don't get to mess up my good running. You know what I mean? Like everyone that's actually hungry, that their businesses are actually growing and scaling. So I strongly feel like if you aren't disciplined, it won't work. Because for me, and I got this from Michael E. Gerber. He talks about three components to a successful business. He says there's the technician, right? That's the person that does the work. So the people that work in the nail salons, they do nails. The people that barbers, they cut hair. The people at the grocery store, they ring up your food, right? So that's the technician, the person that's doing the work. The doctor, right? Any specialized kind of work where you're doing the same thing. Then there's the manager, who's the structure. You have to have a structure in order to be successful. You can't build an empire on the sand. You know, like there are nuts and bolts of business that have to happen, like starting with your hours of operation. For me, most recently, I've been putting my phone down 8:30, 9 o'clock. Sorry, y'all, I'm unavailable. I got another phone. You could, if you got that number, then you could call me. But what I mean by that is that literally, if you are trying to be successful, you have to have hours. And just as an example, how the hours work, like imagine going to your favorite store on the planet, right? And then you found it out of nowhere and they have all of your favorite items for like a quarter of the price. The people were awesome. You're like, oh, this is my new favorite store. And you went there on Monday at 3 o'clock. So the next day you're like, you know what? I want to go back and get some more stuff. And you decide to bring your wife or bring your dog or bring your kids or whoever. So you go back to the store Tuesday at 3 o'clock and they're closed. So then you're like, oh, okay. Their hours aren't posted, right? So you go back on Wednesday at 3 o'clock and they're closed. So you're like, okay, maybe they just weren't open the rest of this week. Let me go back next Monday at 3 o'clock. So you go back next Monday at 3 o'clock and they're closed.
Right.
Would you ever go back to that store again? No, it'd be so frustrating because there's no consistency. People trust consistency. So if you don't have, like a level of professionalism, the structure of your business, then it's going to be really hard to build a business. And the third component is the entrepreneur, which is the mindset, the resilience, the knock me down 7 times, I'm getting up 8. The if you fall, try to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up, right? Les Brown. It's those types of things that make you successful. So for me, if I was working with someone, I would say your mindset isn't in the space yet, possibly. Let's work on that first, because it doesn't matter, if you're going to battle, it doesn't matter how sharp your sword is. It doesn't matter how how sharp your axe is if you're not strong enough to pick them up and swing them. You've got to
Mm.
work on you first. You've got to get stronger first. You've got to get your weight up first. So now you're actually
Get your weight up.
effective in battle.
Right, right. Okay, okay. I like that. So man, the discipline point is so key. You're so right about that. Ah, wow, you're right. Like, and some people do run, if you run your life like that, you are absolutely going to run your business like that at the same time. And
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
you're not going to be in business, for any period of time successfully, right?
Right,
You may be able to jump around, here and there, and have a campaign here, have a campaign there, or sell this, sell that, but it's not
right,
going to be a long-term thing.
right.
How important would you say investing is? Now, when I say investing, I don't mean investing in the stock market or this, that, and the other, because no one can control those. No one has any clue,
Mm-hmm.
if it's going up or down any given day,
Right.
right? I used to work for, I used to consult for Goldman Sachs and the Federal Reserve Bank, and we used to call it gambling. And
Oh, it is kind of.
right, it's gambling, right? So it doesn't matter how smart someone says they are about that market. Like, you don't control those companies. You don't control the press that comes out.
Right.
So when I say invest, and I'm not knocking investing in the stock market, but it's just not my thing. So when I say invest, how important is it to invest in oneself? Because you said yourself, you won't mess with the person, right? You will not fool with the person if they are not disciplined and you charge high prices. So you are really removing yourself from dealing with a whole bunch of people, because people just aren't serious sometimes. They'll drag you down with them, or absorb all your time. How important, and I used to be like that, so I can talk about the kind of person, because I'm talking about myself. But once I woke up, I realized how important investing is in myself. I
Yes.
invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in courses and classes and masterminds and coaching and things like that. So how important is investing from your perspective, Sarah?
I think it's investing in yourself is the best investment you'll ever make. And for me, that's what true success is. And, we all have our own meaning of what success is. For me, success means your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and financial aspect are all in a space where you feel good, and it's always evolving. So some people look at success and they think it's monetary. Well, I know very successful people who hate their lives, who are they're just not happy. I know very people that don't make a lot of money who love their lives, so for me, all five, like for me, that's what whole life happiness is. And when you're investing in yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and financially, it just gives you an opportunity to take things and yourself to a whole new level. Because this is the thing, even like your significant other, right? Or your friends and your family members, we don't attract like what we want. We attract who we are. And
Mm.
sometimes looking around at our circle is a like, I don't know if you've ever had these moments, but when you're a kid and it's like, why are you my friend? Like, because it's like, you're really mean. Why are you my friend? Or you're a bully. Why are you my friend? That's really true. Sometimes as adults, we need to look around our circle and be like, why are you my friend? Like, you're really mean, you're a bully, or whatever it may be. And so I think that's the best investment that one could ever make. And I think that that's something that should always happen. And I'm the same as you, constantly investing in myself. And even like, even your health, like a lot of the times people are like, oh, well, I can eat this and I can eat that, and no judgment, no shade, whatever, do what makes you happy. But are you looking at the long game? A lot of people are living in the right now, which is why they don't invest in themselves, because the return on investment rarely comes today. The return on investment is usually a long game. Stocks, long game. Trading, short game, but you could lose a lot more, So
Right.
like you start to learn the different kind of investments, and investing in yourself is a long game. It's the longest game you'll ever play, because it's the extent of your entire life, right?
Mm.
So are you willing to really invest in yourself in those ways? I think it's literally the
Right.
best investment you could ever make.
And I'm pretty sure you're still investing in yourself, right? On a
Absolutely.
regular.
Books. I do books. I take courses. I mean, even right now in this quarantine, I'm learning to speak Spanish. I can't get a Spanish teacher, so I'm doing Rosetta Stone. Invested in that. Learning to trade, that costs me money every single month. Learning or getting, I am in the stock, well, I'm in the stock market, that costs.
Right.
And that's
Right.
just financial. But as far as developing yourself, as far as food, I don't eat meat. I sometimes will eat fish, but I eat really clean, as far as working out. I haven't been doing that as much. I definitely need to, but I'm like, well, I've been eating okay. When I can get back to Pilates, I'll be back. But
Right.
I think every aspect is so important, especially like for people that aren't necessarily, they may not believe in God. I don't
Right.
know how people do it when they don't believe in something. Like, it doesn't have to be God. It could be universe. It could be whatever that is. But creating that source of faith and connecting to source,
Mm.
for me, is absolutely life changing. Which also, and I don't want to go on the most random tangent, and spirituality is hard to talk about, but even just for me, I've had some very serious spiritual awakenings about some things that make me a much more powerful manifester. It's happening in real time.
I think that's key. That's a really good point you made there, Sarah. I really, I don't talk about the spiritual side of things I don't even know why I don't talk about it. Oh, maybe because I'm just so much into business,
Mm-hmm.
but that's like the foundation. I haven't, I used to meditate all the time. I grew up first.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a Pentecostal church. Like my grandfather was
Mm.
a preacher. My grandmother was the first lady of the church, so I know
Wow.
about the church.
Yeah.
Having the Holy Ghost, passing out,
Mm-hmm.
knocking
Mm-hmm.
people over, knocking benches over, and all that kind of stuff, right? And I kind of I went in another direction. Once I get to the age where I can make my own decisions.
Right.
But that is something that most religions in particular believe in. But also, even if you don't have a quote unquote religion that you follow, most spiritual systems, it's supposed to help you remove your ego, or at least like tone it down. And so you have to believe in something that is a higher power. And we just have many different names, right, that we call this
Yeah.
higher power. Some people worship in a different way. Some people worship by on their knees praying. Some people worship through yoga, but we're all kind of giving homage to a higher power. And I think especially during this period, I didn't even think about talking about that, but I think that's super freaking key, because it can, if you watch the news, you hear about, the unemployment, and you hear about people, dying, and,
Right.
it's like, man, the economy's down. And I read
Right.
something the other day that just also said that I think the economy is worse now than it was in 2008, because, so many brick and mortar businesses are down.
Yep.
Even though e-com is going up,
Yep.
you still have e-com is a small part of the American economy.
Right.
You still have brick and mortar. And
Right.
you start to take that news in and all this other, like, gloom and doom news,
Yeah.
it can get pretty, and then it could get pretty bad, for you
Right.
mentally speaking. So I think a spiritual foundation is very important.
I do too, because it creates peace, a
Yeah,
sense of peace when all things are shaken, when all things are crazy, when all things are uncertain like they are right now. It
right.
gives you a huge sense of peace, and whatever name you choose to call it. Like, I'm not here to tell anyone what to believe in, but
Mhm.
it's definitely changed the game.
Right, right. That's good stuff. Okay, so listen, we're going to wrap this up, my dear, and tell us, like, so I'm going to make sure your information is in here anyway, right?
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
how can people get in contact with Sarah to get some of that mindset, that that discipline, that strength, all those beautiful things that you spoke about, so they could be floating on the cloud like yourself?
Thank you.
Yeah.
On Instagram and on all platforms, I'm Ms. Sarah Fontenot. So MS and then another S. So MSSarahFontenot. So it looks like Ms. Sarah Fontenot, but it's not. It's Fontenot. And then my website is www.disruptoreliteGroup.com. And disruptor is spelled with an OR.
Right.
I've spelled it wrong for years. I was like, what? Oh, God's weird. Um, I, hey,
You read
yay!
that?
No, I haven't, but I need to.
Yeah, yeah. He wrote this book about how many years ago? Um, 2015. It's a really good book.
Yes, I will check it out. I'm a book person. I read and I
Really?
listen. Yeah, yeah, big time. Big time.
Every day, every week, or what?
Every day.
Really?
Yeah.
How long you read every day? How long?
Well, if I don't read, then I listen.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Audible as well.
Give us some books. Give us some books.
Oh
Give us
my gosh.
like just give us three, because people always say, "What's your favorite book?" I don't have a favorite book, but I have
Yeah,
a lot of good books. But give us, like, I don't know, three or four books.
three,
Book series.
four. Okay, so if there's any new entrepreneurs that are starting their journey, The Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz, absolutely life-changing book. It's four spiritual agreements that you contract with yourself, and it completely changes the way that you look at the world, the way that you look at others, the way that you receive things, and the way that you give things meaning in your life. So powerful. Another book I would say is The 5-Second Rule for people that struggle with procrastination. Honestly, I think it could have been cut in half, like because for me it's a lot of like science after a while, and I'm like, I don't necessarily need the science, because I'm not an information person. I'm like, do it or don't, like
Right.
I'm weird like that.
Okay.
But incredible book where it's just like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Another amazing book is The Power by Rhonda Byrne. Are you familiar with The Secret?
Yes.
So The Power is like the secret in action.
Mm.
And it really gets into the level of thoughts that you're thinking. Pardon me, so sorry. The level of thoughts that you're thinking And then I would say I'm going to mix two other books. There's two of them. One is The Slight Edge, and I'll mix that
I love
with,
that.
yeah, The Slight Edge mixed with the what is it called? The E-Myth by Michael E. Gerber.
I read that one too. That's a good.
Yes. So um, The Slight Edge is obviously the compound effect. We're always compounding, positive or negative. And if you don't know, it's probably negative. And then the E-Myth goes over the components of business. I kind of went over them today, but those 5 books for the new entrepreneur that needs to get their mindset right, their thoughts right, out of procrastination and actually into work. I think those are really powerful, powerful books.
Great. Okay. And could you name some courses that some of us, because maybe some people aren't readers, like you said, some people don't even know about Audible, but or don't use Audible. Rather, you should know about it by now. Are there any courses you could recommend?
My course. I love my course. It is for, it's more of like the newer entrepreneur who wants to start, grow, and or scale your business. Everyone doesn't need to scale their business. Like they may think that means growth, but that actually may cost you more and cut into profits. That's a whole other situation. But anyway, it does go into the mindset, but it's also, how to start, how to find your purpose, questions to ask yourself, how to make time for your business, how to do Facebook ads, intro to Facebook ads, like, the starter pack, how to email market, how to like really get started inside of your business. And
You're
then
a Facebook ads person too?
yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not professional at it, and now I have a team, but
You did though. I got you.
but when you start, you got to know how to do. You start doing everything, So there's like down to how do you create a pixel? Do you have pixels on your website? So those things are really important, so you can retarget and all of that stuff. So that's in my course as well. Anything with Russell Brunson, man's a genius. Brendon Burchard, absolutely phenomenal. What I love about Brendon Burchard is especially like his high performance. I love people that can give you inspiration and motivation, but also give you action steps. I'm really passionate about the action portion. And even inside of my course, there's like downloadable PDFs that you have to like write down and do a lot of work for. So I love that because Brendon Burchard kind of sets you up, pardon me, whether you're going to be successful is one thing, but to sustain success is a completely different thing. So, yeah, I mean, I've done so many. It really would depend on what each person needs, but I feel like those are all encompassing overall umbrella, a great start for entrepreneurs.
I think people probably relate to your course more because, not everyone can relate to Brendon, right? Not everyone is where Brendon is. Like Brendon he's like at that level now where he doesn't get a chance to reach out to the people. So he's been up there so long that he may not know what it is for somebody who's coming out of the pandemic.
Right.
In the pandemic who's struggling. You know what I mean? He may not even know how that feels. I was in Puerto Rico in January at like this mastermind group or whatever, and the man is living awesome, right? So I'm sure he's not missing a beat. Whereas you may be able to, not saying that you're down there struggling either, but you may be able to relate on another level, which is why and especially to women as well, right? You have a whole nother audience that you can relate to in terms of culture and others. So I think it'd be good that, they check out what you have to offer.
Thank you.
I mean, Lord knows they need it.
Yes, it's game time. We have an opportunity to be, do, and have whatever we want to be, do, and have, but we just have to decide it and decide that is true for us. So I'm with you.
Well, cool. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for spending time with me today. I'm going to share this to everybody. I'm going to make sure you get it as well. And you and I will be communicating soon.
That sounds good. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.